All right, this is Algebra 1B, Part 1, Part 2, Algebra 1B, Part 2, Unit 1, Lesson 9, Systems of Linear and Quadratic Equations. A system of equations is more than one equation. Let me draw one on the board here, our example we're going to work with. I'm going to write x minus 2y, equals 10. And I'm going to write y equals 1/4 x squared minus 2x minus 1. Now there's a lot of steps, so it's easy to make a mistake. So be careful as you work from step to step and double check. All right? I'm going to work in two columns, and I'm going to use a technique called substitution. The principle of substitution is this. If something equals something, then those two things can replace each other. So in this case, if y equals 1/4 x squared minus 2x minus 1, then y can replace that. Or y, 1/4 x squared minus 2x minus 1 can replace y. So where I see a y, I'm going to write 1/4 x squared minus 2x minus 1. Okay, so y gets exchanged for that. That's substitution. Rewrite the rest of the problem. This is x minus 2y, so x minus 2 times the quantity. 1/4 x squared minus 2x minus 1. Okay, and now I've got an equation with just x's in it. I'm going to distribute. Okay, so we end up with x minus 2 times 1/4 is minus 1/2 x squared. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2. Okay, I can combine a couple like terms. 1x and 4x combines to make 5x. 5x, so negative 1/2 x squared plus 5x plus 2 equals 10. When solving quadratics, we want 0 on one side, so I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides. Subtract 10 from both sides, so we have negative 1/2 x squared plus 5x minus 8 equals 0. Okay. Now, we haven't learned how to work with fractions, but we can get rid of the fraction by multiplying by the common denominator 2. Well, not only that, the leading coefficient is negative, so I'd like to change that by multiplying by negative 2 on top, on both sides. Remember to distribute. Okay, and we get negative 2 times the negative 1/2. A negative times a negative is a positive, x squared. Negative 2 times negative 5 is negative 10x. Negative 2 times negative 8 is positive 16. Negative 2 times 0 is 0. Okay, that looks too much like a 6. There we go. All right, so now we're looking to factor the left side. We can use the quadratic equation too, or quadratic formula. But I'm going to factor. X times x is x squared. I'm looking for factors of 16 that add to make 10. Well, your factors of 16 are 1 times 16, 2 times 8, and 4 times 4. The only pair of those that add to make 10 is 2 and 8. So this is going to be x minus 2 and x minus 8 so that they add to make negative 10. And now we learn the multiplication product of property of 0, which says if two things multiply to be 0, one of them must be 0. So either x minus 2 equals 0 or x minus 8 equals 0. X minus 2 equals 0 or x minus 8 equals 0. Again, solving both of those equations, I add 2 to both sides of the equation and get x equals 2, or I add 8 to both sides of this equation and get x equals 8. Notice there are two solutions, x equals 2 or x equals 8. Okay, that's because there are two intersection points, and we're going to see this graphically in just a moment. So what I need to do now is substitute, and now we've got two things to substitute, not just one. So x equals 2, So where I see an x, I'm going to insert 2, right? Now we could actually substitute in the original equation, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that because that's easier than substituting in this squared, right? So substitute 2 for x, so 2 minus 2y, right? Yeah, 2 minus 2y equals 10, right? And we can solve for y. Solve for y. So minus 2 minus 2. We end up with negative 2y equals 8. Divide by negative 2. And y is negative 4. Now we put in 2 for x, so this corresponds to the point 2 comma negative 4. Okay, but we also need to substitute x equals 8. So we're going to let x equal 8 as well, right? So let's do that. So now we're going to do 8 minus 2y equals 10. Subtract 8, and we get 2y, negative 2y, equaling 2. And divide negative 2, and we get y equals negative 1. This corresponds to the point x equals 8 and y equals negative 1. 8, negative 1. So those are the 2 points of intersection. X equals 2, y equals negative 4. X equals 8, y equals negative 1. Now let me show you in Desmos what that looks like. Okay. All right, so I'm going to, I've already entered it, but I'll enter it again here. Okay, so we're going to enter both our equations. X minus 2y equals 10, and y equals 1/4 x squared minus 2x minus 1. And we're going to look for where they cross. They cross at negative 2, 4. Negative 2, 4. X equals negative 2? No, 2, negative 4. There we go. We were right. X equals 2, negative 4. And x equals 8. And x equals 8, y equals negative 1. There we go. And notice the line crosses both places. So when you solve a system of a quadratic and a linear equation, you often get 2 points with an x and a y pair for each one. So there's 4 numbers in your solution. All right, hopefully that helps.